And especially Jimmy Haslam, the owner. Jimmy Haslam has already came out to say that he wasn't going to pick Shedeur. This call was on Andrew Berry. This was Andrew Berry's call to make. This was Andrew Berry's pick. So Andrew Berry pulled the trigger and drafted Shedeur Sanders with the 144th pick in the 5th round. So now that Shedeur Sanders...
Jimmy Haslam didn't want Shedeur Sanders. The owner made that crystal clear. This wasn't his call. But when GM Andrew Berry pulled the trigger on that 5th round pick, he had no idea he was about to create the biggest front office controversy Cleveland has seen in years. What happened next on that sideline, caught on hot mic, has the entire NFL world buzzing, and it might just cost Andrew Berry his job. Because when you go against your owner's wishes and draft the son of primetime in the 5th round, you better be right. And brother, the pressure is about to get real. Let me break this down for you, because what we witnessed in Cleveland isn't just about football. It's about power, respect, and what happens when a GM decides to bet his entire career on a kid. Everyone else passed on. Picture this: draft night, day 3. We're sitting there, waiting, watching name after name get called. Shedeur Sanders, the same quarterback who led Colorado through one of the most watched seasons in college football history, is still sitting in that green room. Teams are passing. Analysts are scratching their heads. And in Cleveland, there's tension in that war room you could cut with a knife. Jimmy Haslam, the billionaire owner who's seen enough failed quarterback picks to last 10 lifetimes, makes his position clear. He's not touching primetime's son. Too much drama, too much baggage, too many question marks. But Andrew Berry, this dude's sitting there with conviction in his eyes, watching tape, seeing something everybody else is missing. And when pick 144 comes around in the 5th round, Berry pulls the trigger. The cameras catch everything: Haslam's face, the mixed reactions in that room, the moment when Berry essentially bet his job on a quarterback most NFL scouts had written off. But here's what nobody talks about: the whispers that started immediately after that pick. Sources close to the organization started leaking that Haslam was furious. Not just disappointed, not just surprised, legitimately angry that his GM had gone rogue on such a high-profile pick. Because let's be real, when you draft Deion Sanders' son, you're not just drafting a player. You're inviting a media circus, family involvement, and all the drama that comes with the Sanders name. Now fast forward to training camp. Every throw Shedeur makes is being dissected. Every practice rep is being analyzed. And while Dillon Gabriel, their actual intended franchise quarterback, is struggling with interceptions and looking shaky, guess who's out there making plays with the third stringers? That's right, Shedeur Sanders is quietly proving everyone wrong. No interceptions, clean pocket presence, making throws that have coaches stopping mid-conversation to watch. The same arm strength they questioned? Yeah, that's looking just fine when he's threading needles to receivers running perfect routes. But the real drama starts when Gabriel gets hurt. Hamstring tightness, they call it. Suddenly, the quarterback they drafted in the 5th round, the one Haslam didn't want, is getting the start in the first preseason game against Carolina. And you know what a lot of people in that building thought? They thought this was Berry's worst nightmare coming true. Starting a quarterback your owner openly opposed, in front of a national audience, with your job potentially on the line. Except Shedeur Sanders doesn't crumble under pressure. Never has. This is the same kid who walked into Colorado and immediately transformed a program that was getting blown out weekly. The same quarterback who played behind a makeshift defensive line and still put up numbers that had NFL scouts secretly taking notes while publicly questioning his draft stock. Game time comes, and what does Shedeur do? He goes 12 of 18 for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. 3 carries for 19 yards. Leads the Browns to 3 scoring drives and a 30-19 victory. Not just a win, a statement. Every throw crisp, every decision clean, every moment looking like he belonged in an NFL uniform. But here's where this story gets spicy, and where Andrew Berry might have sealed his fate one way or another.
General manager Andrew Berry was mic'd up with Shedeur Sanders, and it was caught on tape. Now this clip is going viral of what general manager Andrew Berry was saying to Shedeur Sanders. But before we get off into that, we partnered up with Underdog Fantasy, and this is a word from our sponsor. Now, with that being said, man, let's get off into what General Manager Andrew Berry and Shedeur Sanders was talking about when they was mic'd up. So let's take a listen.
Really, really good. Proud of you.
Cool.
Really, really nice.
You're not fully proud, kinda.
I'm
Kinda proud.
Look, for your first side, it was a perfect no, but you made plays, you operated, like, so it just stacked.
I love when you tell the facts, dude. No, but it's okay. It's okay.
Listen, you did a nice job, okay? So just take what you learned from tonight, apply it to the joint practices and in the next preseason game. All right?
You were the real player now. I'm gonna bring that sauce to you.
I know you will. I know you will. Really good job. That's a great start.
It feels more real. Now,
After the game, with cameras still rolling and microphones still hot, Berry approaches Shedeur on the sideline. What happens next is pure gold, and it reveals everything about the power struggle happening in Cleveland. Really, really good. Proud of you, Berry tells him. But listen to Shedeur's response. This kid's confidence is unshakable. You're not fully proud, he says back with that Sanders swagger. And Berry? He doubles down. No, I'm not. Look, but you made plays. You operated. So it's just stack. This exchange tells you everything. Berry's trying to keep Shedeur grounded, trying to manage expectations, but also showing genuine pride in his controversial pick. And Shedeur? He's reading the room, understanding the politics, but also letting Berry know he's just getting started. You, the real player now. I'ma bring that sauce to you, Shedeur responds. And Berry's final words? I know you are. I know. Really good job. That's a great start. Now, to most people watching, this looks like a heartwarming Minterman team moment. But if you understand NFL politics, you're seeing something completely different. You're watching a GM who went against his owner's wishes, having that I told you so moment. You're seeing Berry essentially claiming ownership of this success story. And that's exactly what's got Jimmy Haslam seeing red. Because think about the position Berry just put his owner in. Haslam publicly stated he didn't want Shedeur Sanders. Now his 5th-round pick is outplaying their intended starter, leading game-winning drives, and getting praised by the same GM who defied ownership to draft him. Every highlight reel, every positive stat line, every media story about Shedeur's success is a reminder that Andrew Berry was right and Jimmy Haslam was wrong. But that's not just embarrassing for an NFL owner, it's dangerous. Because if word gets out that your GM regularly makes personnel decisions against your wishes and then gets proven right, suddenly you look like the problem. Suddenly people start questioning whether you should be making personnel decisions at all, the leaked reports started almost immediately after that game. Sources close to the organization began telling reporters that Haslam was questioning Berry's judgment, not just on the Sanders pick, but on his overall approach to building the roster. Whispers about insubordination and lack of alignment with organizational goals started making their way to NFL insiders. But here's what makes this whole situation even more explosive. Shedeur Sanders isn't just succeeding, he's doing it with the quiet confidence that drives people crazy. He's not talking trash, he's not calling out the teams that passed on him. He's just playing football at an elite level while carrying himself like the star his father always said he was. Every practice report talks about his leadership. Every interview shows maturity beyond his years. Every throw in practice makes Dillon Gabriel look more and more like a mistake. And with each passing day, Andrew Berry's controversial decision looks more and more like the move of a genius GM who saw something everyone else missed. Now Gabriel's dealing with his own injury issues, struggling to get back on track, and looking over his shoulder at a 5th-round pick who's playing like a 1st-round talent. The pressure's mounting, and everyone in that building knows what's at stake. Because if Shedeur continues this trajectory, if he keeps making plays, keeps showing that Brady-like pocket presence, keeps proving he should have been drafted way higher than 144, then Andrew Berry becomes untouchable. You can't fire a GM who found your franchise quarterback in the 5th round, especially when your owner didn't want that quarterback in the first place. But if Shedeur falters, if the magic wears off, if he starts making rookie mistakes or showing those weaknesses that scouts questioned, then Berry becomes the GM who wasted a draft pick on a publicity stunt and ignored his owner's wishes in the process. Right now, Shedeur's dealing with an oblique injury that's going to keep him out of the next preseason game. And you better believe, Jimmy Haslam is watching every snap Dillon Gabriel takes. hoping his original instincts were right, hoping Barry's controversial pick looks more like desperation than inspiration. The irony in all this? Shedeur Sanders has been proving doubters wrong his entire life. From his high school days when people said he was only getting attention because of his last name, to Colorado where critics claimed he couldn't handle the pressure of rebuilding a program, to the draft where 143 picks came before his name was called. This kid thrives on adversity. He feeds off the doubt. And now he's in the middle of a front office power struggle that could determine his GM's future, playing for an owner who didn't want him, with a confidence that suggests he knows exactly how this story ends. Every rep he takes, every throw he completes, every game he helps win is another piece of evidence in Andrew Barry's favor. And every mistake Dillon Gabriel makes, every struggle their intended starter faces, is another reminder that sometimes the best moves are the ones that go against conventional wisdom. The real question isn't whether Shedeur Sanders can play in the NFL. His preseason performance already answered that. The real question is whether Andrew Barry's job security depends on his controversial fifth-round pick becoming everything he believed he could be. And based on that sideline conversation, based on the pride in Barry's voice when he told Shedeur, "I know you are," after the kid promised to bring that sauce, it seems like this GM is all in on his decision. Jimmy Haslam can threaten all he wants. He can leak his displeasure to reporters, question Barry's judgment in owner meetings, and make it clear this wasn't his call. But at the end of the day, results matter in the NFL. And if Shedeur Sanders keeps delivering results like that performance against Carolina, Andrew Barry might just save his job with the same pick that initially put it at risk. The beautiful irony. Primetime Son might be the one who proves that sometimes the best draft picks are the ones that make ownership uncomfortable. Sometimes the smartest GMs are the ones willing to bet their careers on talent everyone else overlooked. Oh, here's what I want to know. And drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Andrew Barry was a genius for seeing what 31 other teams missed? Or did he just get lucky that his gamble paid off? And more importantly, should NFL owners have final say over every pick? Or should GMs have the freedom to make controversial decisions when they truly believe in a player? Because one thing's for sure, this story is far from over. Every snap Shedeur takes, every throw he makes, every game he potentially starts is another chapter in what might be the most interesting power struggle in the NFL right now. That if you're loving this insider drama and want to stay ahead of every twist in this story, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Because trust me, with Shedeur Sanders involved, this is just getting started. And you're going to want front row seats for what happens next.